Well, listen, we're recording this on March 14th, which is Pi Day.
No,
So
it's not Pi
wait
Day.
a second.
Stop.
It's another day too.
Stop.
Yep.
It is a far better day.
What is that?
It's
Yes.
St. Louis Day.
Oh,
The area code is 314. And you know what?
314.
Emo's is making pizzas today that have
Yes.
314 written in pepperonis.
okay. So it's Pi Day.
And
Day.
St. Louis Day.
And mostly
Okay,
St.
sure.
Louis Day, also Pi Day.
Right.
2 questions. Who can recite the most numbers of pi?
I
Start there.
think I can.
3.14. It's the only one, those are the only ones that matter.
Wow. So I just immediately win. 3.14159267
Yeah, but we didn't practice that before we came on. So
I think you have a tab open and you are reading those.
I didn't even go that far. If I had a tab open, don't you think I would have given you like 40 characters?
Michael,
No, you
we
wanted
know
to
that
make
you're
it
smart.
believable.
You don't have to show
All
us
right.
that you're smart. We know that
Next
you're
to
smart.
my next question, which is, what's your favorite kind of pie? Do you like pie?
I know the two of you are going to hate mine because I already have seen Michael's visceral reaction to this. And I'm going to say it the way that Michael would say it: pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Yeah.
Oh, I like a pecan pie or
How
pecan.
you say it?
A good one. A good one. Like not a store bought, a homemade one.
Yeah. They're hard to make at home, though. I've
like pecan
tried that
pie?
before. I messed it up.
And
I
then,
do.
Eric, what about you?
A fruit pie, like a berry pie, blueberry. It's pretty good.
So
What's your
I
favorite
don't
pie, Michael?
love pies very much. I grew up, in the South, and pies were a big thing, especially like a pecan pie. But like,
Pecan.
pecan pie just has that like caro syrup. Like it can just be so gunky and not good, and it doesn't really bring out the best in the pecans. I feel like when you bake pecans, they're not crispy. They're not. They just turn into this kind of like chalky type texture. So I typically don't like a nut pie. Berry pies can be a little too much of that, like same thing, like gunky. I don't even know what you add to a pie to make it like bind together like that.
What do you want
Cornstarch.
in a pie? What do you want?
You add? It is cornstarch.
I think, well, it depends. Cornstarch is one option. There are different, tapioca is another thickener.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that kind of stuff to me, it ends up being like a thick kind of set.
So I just think you haven't had a really good pie.
Well,
Yeah,
I say all that to say, I've had some good pies. Like, so I have had a good pecan pie or a good fruit pie, but they're few and far between. And most of the ways that people do them, I don't like them. So I'm much more of like, I like a galette or a tart or a crumble, something thinner where you're not trying to fill it as much.
What about a cobbler?
Like a cobbler. Yep, like a cobbler. But like a galette is like perfect for me. Nice, flaky, but thin crust. And then it's just fruit on the inside. And
I think you just wanted to use this opportunity to show off your knowledge of baked goods.
That's not true. We have a cold open and it's Pi Day.
1000%. Wow, man, Ariel has you like she.
I tell you what, I like getting these negative motivations tied to me. You're just picking pie so that you can show how smart you are. You're just picking pie so you can show how much you know about food. I'm sorry that I have a big vocabulary and know a lot, guys.
See, but that's what I'm saying. That's the overcompensation. That's the overcompensation. That's what I'm saying. It's so obvious.
That sounded really egotistical and douchey. That was it.
No, that sounded just the way that you normally talk to us. Good. Yeah, good call, Ariel. And
I'm not bringing the cold open anymore, Ariel.
I'm glad that you decided to go that route so you could show us the different foods that you
could flex on us a little bit.
Yeah,
it's
impressive. I don't mind it. I find it interesting, so don't feel bad about it. It's just let's just call it what it is, though. Let's just be real about it.
Going back to pecan pies or pecan pies, my grandma would say pecan, but she was
pecan. What you're a student of the English language, correct? When you have a vowel, a consonant, and a vowel, the first vowel is long. True or false?
True, but it's also regional, depending on
yeah.
And
I'm from the South.
How you pronounce Exactly.
Yeah, but in Texas,
I'm from the redneck. I'm from the redneck part of the South, and so like if you go up a little bit to Savannah or Charleston, they do call it pecan. So, but we just think they're hoity-toity.
Well, let me tell you about this thing.
Pecan. It's not con.
Pecan.
When do you ever say con? Con. C-A-N. Con. Can. It's a can. Pecan.
Well, it's not own either. But you say own. So instead of on. See, regional.
Yeah.
There's Ariel with her classic catchphrase.
There's so much animosity in this. Ariel, you shouldn't have.
You've attacked me 3 times.
I know. I opened myself. I opened it.
Yeah, because he was in a good mood.
I don't know. I had to.
He felt good. He said the different things that he knows, and he was like, "Yeah, I got to put some big words in there. I got to do all these things." And then you just should have let it go, Ariel. Just like let him do it.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I want to tell you one more thing about this damn pecan pie.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Bourbon whipped cream on top. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
We had that once. Oh man. Yeah. Whew. So good.
You want to talk about what things are called? My wife is from Canada, and they call it whipping cream.
Oh, no.
Which is the actual stuff you put in it, but then when you whip it, it's whipped cream.
It has become whipped.
Previously been whipped, but they call it whipping cream.
Interesting.
I accept that too. I don't think there's any point in having a bias against any of these ways to say anything.
All right, guys. I want to take you on a journey.
Ariel.
Yep. Thank you, Michael.
Michael's so
I'm going to I want to take the two of you on a journey, okay?
Please. Yes.
I want you to, in your mind's eye, imagine that you are in law school, all right? You have 1 year left of law school or you've been in school for 5 years doing something. You've got 1 year left. You and your friends are like, let's take a trip together to celebrate how far we have come, and let's do this now before our final year, because once we graduate, we're going to immediately have to start working. Like, this is our last kind of free, no responsibilities time period in our lives, like probably the last time we're able to do this. So you and 4 of your friends decide that you're going to plan a big trip. I'm specifically talking about an instance where these 4 friends or 5 friends decided to plan a trip to Southeast Asia. All right. And they realized it's a lot of work planning a trip and paying for a trip. So why don't we come together and find a way to collaborate on this, the financial aspects and the planning aspects of it. And so what they decide to do is, like I said, they're going to Southeast Asia. You are going to Southeast Asia or anywhere, could be with your friends. And you each plan.
I like how in this already, there's like, she's painting this picture, but everything's swapped. You can swap out anything. You could be in law school or you can be in some other school. You're going to Southeast Asia or anywhere.
It could, I know.
It could be 5 friends. It could be 3 friends. Okay.
No, it has to be 5. It has to be 5. Okay.
Okay, 5. That's the only important part. That's the part of the riddle that can't be changed.
And you're planning this trip with your friends. And you're each responsible for a leg of the trip. And part of this is
what is one of those?
Man, Michael, I'm telling you, he's so salty right now. Like he's just so like he wants to.
I know.
Wants to get back.
I'm going to take
badly.
it. I'm taking it. All right.
Okay, plan a leg
of the trip. And part of the reason for this too is that you don't all agree on where to go in Southeast Asia or Europe or South America. So to make sure everybody gets to go where they want to go, you all plan a leg of the trip. Does this sound like a good idea? Just right there. Does that sound like a good idea from a financial perspective, from just a way to plan a trip with friends?
My immediate thought is that it sounds like a cool idea. I think that it sounds like, Southeast Asia isn't that expensive to travel in, I'm guessing. So it seems like, yeah, you could probably be pretty cost effective. I think where I because I'm planning a golf trip right now for like 8 dudes, having each person plan an individual part of that trip sounds like it would be a nightmare. That's my initial take.
Yes. Similarly, if your question is regarding the independent planning, it's just inefficient. Like it's so much, you get more bang for your buck if there's like a cohesive thought behind it. So if that's your question, then that's not how I'd want to go about planning.
And you got to have at least one dumb friend.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like one person's not going to be able to do it well.
I see. Because I would think about that. Like you just need one smart friend that can do it.
this is the abundant mindset versus scarcity, maybe, or something.
Could be.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of think that I think it's a fun idea because, like, when we went to Asheville for the retreat, it was really nice that Michael planned this. I mean, he planned the whole trip, not just a leg of the trip, but there's something that is fun
That was
about
leg?
that. There's leg.
You kind of say
four different
everything
ways.
exactly how it's supposed to be
say
said.
it, Michael.
All right, he's
How
going
do
to
you
be
say it?
Leg, L-E-G, leg. You say leg.
It's St. Louis Day. I
Your
can
shoulders
say
literally
however I
went
want.
leg.
Anyway, I enjoyed that you planned that trip because it is a lot of work to plan a trip for so many people, as Michael is acutely aware of. And I think if you're a planner, it would probably be enjoyable. But there's something about being a guest on that trip, and you get to be surprised about what's happening. I think you also, like, if you're friends with one another, you can, you like are kind of, you know what your friends are into, but you can also like share some things with them. So I think it's a neat idea. Do we have any concerns about the like cost aspect that like, so the way this group of friends decides to plan the trip is that I'm assuming that they've all paid to get to Southeast Asia for themselves and they're paying to get home, but then they're like sharing the cost of travel, and the person who's like in charge of the Thailand leg of the trip is booking the hotels and paying for all the stuff that's in the Thailand leg. And
Okay, so we're assuming that we are doing separate people planning different legs. Like that's the assumption now, even though we don't like that. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go with
do they
this
have a
still.
budget?
They have a budget in place. There's a budget cap. You spend this, each leg is this much, this is how how much we're going to spend on it.
All right,
And
that
then
sounds
you can,
good so far.
we're good with this. Would there be any concerns? Like, would you feel like you needed to have evidence that things were planned?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I already see where this is going. Okay.
I'm revealing too much.
Yeah, there needs to be a central organizer. I mean, I know that Ariel, you're probably a fan of like a community planner, right? Like, I think that someone needs to be responsible for the receipts and putting together itinerary, even if they're not making the decisions. Because I already see where this is going, and it's going to make me nauseous. Because I've been to Southeast Asia to undesirable countries, and if I was there stranded.
Okay, so this group of people. And this comes from a podcast that I found in the past year. It's called Normal Gossip. Great podcast. And they did an interview with a friend of the friend who was on this trip. And what ended up happening is that they go on the first leg, second leg of the trip, third leg, everything is fine. They're getting ready to go to the fourth leg of the trip. And one of the people who was responsible for planning the fourth leg ghosted them all in Thailand.
In Thailand? That's the worst place to get ghosted.
Left them all in some like full moon party on the beach in Thailand. She went back early to the hotel, grabbed her.
These are all women or mixed?
These are all women. They're all women in their early 20s. Mm-hmm.
And she's their friend?
Supposedly. And Bobby, you look like you've got a question or a thought.
Well, I do, but I feel like you're going to reveal more. So I'm like, is this person? Was this person mad at everybody else? Like, when my brain goes
steal from them?
This person, it was getting back at them for something, and they screwed them.
I don't know if that was the case, but the person ghosted everyone in Thailand.
Oh,
they get back to the hotel. They're like, where is, I think her name was like Evelyn or something. It's a made up name. But where is Evelyn? Oh, her stuff is not here. One of the friends is like, well, I have her on Find My Friends, Find My Phone app thing. And they look and they see that she's at the airport.
Oh,
and she just
in the world
flew home. And so they don't know what to do next. They don't know what to do next with their leg of the trip. Because Evelyn was supposed to plan it. She's gone. What are your thoughts?
I mean,
tell me.
Did she not pay already? Like, was she trying? Did she steal from them? Like, what is the upside here? Was she just embarrassed she didn't plan her leg of the trip? She said, I'll never talk to these people again.
She just never planned her leg of the trip. She let everybody else plan and pay for theirs and told them that she had taken care of it and got a free vacation out of it, and then just ghosted all of her friends.
Whoa.
I see what you're saying. So when you're planning your leg of the trip, you're responsible for paying that part?
For that leg, because that's how they've decided to budget it all.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's
they
like, I'll do the finale. I'll do it big.
Yeah, that's a bad way to split it up, man. That's pretty.
Can you imagine her like enjoying the 4 legs, knowing she's going to do that? Like,
well, you have to know that you're burned. Like the relationship is burned. Like maybe it's just you go and you don't even really like these. This is college we're talking about, law school. You got a bunch of attorneys. You know, I don't know. I mean, you got to know that you're just pressing the cancel button on your relationship.
That
with
is,
these people.
and that is some bad juju.
Right?
Yeah, to strand people in a foreign country,
especially right, and like in Thailand. That is.
I've never been, but I
plan of how to get out of there.
Seen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, you got to have some guts to do that. You got to be wired a little bit different.
Yeah, that's a ballsy person.
So obviously, what the woman did, this Evelyn person did, was questionable. That's a horrible thing to do to your friends. You know, you're probably not going to be friends with them again. But
we did joke about doing that to Tom, though.
Well, there's joking, and then there's actually going on the trip and executing a plan like this.
That is especially like to say, I'll plan the last leg. And knowing that's just your strategy.
You laugh with them. You're drinking with these people. You're hanging out with them. You're enjoying. You're
we'll be friends for life. Isn't this great? This is such a great bonding experience.
Yeah, and then you just
they all got matching tattoos except for her. That should have been the.
She's like, I can't get tattoos.
She like tells the tattoo artist, "Can you draw this on in magic marker so it looks like I've gotten one?"
That's the crazier part to me.
Enjoying the first 4 legs.
Yeah, like the pretending. Your wires have to be not. You got to be crossed.
That's some psychopath.
Mm-hmm. So that's like I said, it's obviously awful what this person did. But is it questionable? You know, is it a questionable decision to plan a trip like this with friends? To plan any trip with friends? Like, how do you approach planning a vacation with friends in a way that is good, that will protect everyone as much as possible?
Okay, so this trip that I'm planning, because we're going to Arizona and it's me and 7 other guys. We did it to where I planned the entire trip.
Not me, by the way. I'm not invited. So it's
me neither.
Other guys.
Don't play golf. And I asked you if you wanted to play golf one time when we went to Asheville, and you were like, "No, I don't want to play golf." So
I'm warming up to it. My wife says, "Don't even think about it," but I'm warming up to it. I live across from a golf course.
I gotta talk to her. She's got a lot of rules for you.
I watch them out there in the morning. I'm like, dang, that kind of looks fun.
Oh, it's a great game. But anyway, so we're going there. But the way that we did it was like, I just told everybody, I covered all of the costs of the trip up front, like did all the deposits and stuff. And then I had all the guys Venmo me.
You wanted the credit card points. You're like me.
No, not even that. It's just, there's some guys on this trip that are not reliable. So like, I was just like, I'll do it. And so then I had them all Venmo me, but I also told them like for the house, like I built in extra costs because like, there's always stuff like this where you, at the end, you like try to split it up and it's a nightmare and people don't get paid and all that. So like, we just try to front load as much of the cost and then I'll refund them if we don't spend all the money. That is, I think, one of the better ways to do it. I can't believe that they did it to where everybody pays for one leg of the trip. That's a weird way to do.
That is a weird way to do
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty similar to Bobby. I do prefer to be the one to sort of lock down all the plans, partly just to make sure it's all makes sense. I like making things efficient, but also like, it's not mentally taxing for me to just like, all right, this is the house. This is the meal. I'll pay for it all. And then Venmo people. But I mean, two things are, number one, obviously these people are not truly that good of a friends. And maybe you could say it's just college or they were classmates or something, but your friend wouldn't do this to you because you go home and you live near your friends. So I don't think that I really worry about that happening.
This only makes sense if it's revenge. Like if they bullied you for a long time and they did something bad to you or something like that. And you're like, you know what? This is how, like, this is the only way this will even make sense to me as a thing that happened.
Or they had 4 people, but they needed a 5th to kind of make the costs make more sense. And they're like, we'll invite her. And she's like, Yeah, but that's it's a psychopath. That person.
I don't have
could
any
murder
information on
someone in
whether
their
or not
sleep.
it was revenge or anything like that, or what the relationship was like before. But yeah, I agree. I think, I don't know that I agree about being as rigid as you guys are talking about with planning a trip with friends, because that seems like, I guess my concern is, would that make the trip any less like fun and whimsical, like to
But what do you mean?
keep track of budgets and receipts and I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't do that.
Well, it sounds like Bobby is like.
Well, okay. I don't no, because not really. It's like there's the house and then there's the golf course. I don't really keep track of the receipts and stuff like that. That's why I just padded it and it's like we'll spend whatever we spend. Like I'm going to charge more for the house than it would actually cost you per person because then we have some cushion. And then it's like if we spend all of it, cool. People throw in more money if we need it. If not, then I'll just refund it back to you. But it's better to have the money that you can kind of use as a pool.
I agree that I pad typically. Like I'll always add a little bit extra for like, especially you like, we do this with our family sometimes. We'll get a vacation home. Everybody is paying their own way. You split the house. But then someone's going to run to the grocery store and spend $150 on groceries. Someone's going to go pick up beer. Someone's going to go do this and that. And those types of things, I hate keeping track of receipts and splitting up.
It's hard
I just hate it. Like that feeling I just hate.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just say like, okay, everybody come and additionally $200 for the whole week. And then that'll be our pool. And what typically happens is that will run out and then maybe I cover costs or then whoever, but at least you're kind of taking care of the bulk of it. But I don't think it takes away from I know what you're saying, Ariel. I'm not keeping, a ledger.
Yeah. No, I'm not keeping a ledger either. But I also like a group of 8 guys. That's a bunch of idiots. It's a bunch of cavemen together. So it's like, you got to kind of put some protections in place because it's just, I've been in those conversations where you're trying to split up things at the end. Like who bought this or who did this? And they're like, oh, I don't remember. I was drunk. It's like,
and the responsible person's the one that always, they go and buy the stuff for breakfast. And so that you end up putting, one person or 2 people end up being the ones that kind of pay for all the incidentals. And that's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long are you guys going on this 8-man golf trip?
We're doing Wednesday through Sunday, which is for a golf trip, that's actually a long time. I don't know why we're doing that many days. And there's all this drama right now about like, there's always drama, but this is the thing I don't like about being the person that plans the trip. Because usually I'm not, but this year I was trying to be nice and did it. It's like you plan out, you pick all the stuff, you spend time doing it. And then like all of a sudden, like somebody's like, oh, hey, me and the guys were talking and we don't like these golf courses. We like these golf courses instead. And then you're like, okay, well, I thought we were good with this. Like they start doing back channel talking and trying to like, almost voting against what was like put in there, but none of them are going to do it. Like none of them will actually take the time to play any of it. They just want to kind of complain about it behind the scenes and like try that stuff.
That is another part for me that like, I almost want a signed contract. Not technically, but what happens is you start to plan a weekend with friends and then someone says, oh, well, maybe like you're halfway through planning and they kind of want to pull out or I don't want to pay that much for the house. Or they just do this stuff that's just disruptive. And like, I hate that. I just want you to like, if you're saying you're going, you generally know the cost, the commitment, just be committed. I even have friends who will go like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Like, let's sort of plan it and we'll see how it goes. I'm like, no, say yes or say no. Like, I want to know that we are going to go and here's sort of the expectations of what we're going to do.
Especially if you've presented it up front and said, okay, here's the budget for where we're staying, and like given people an opportunity to give their input. Like, what are you interested in doing? What kind of like restaurants do you want to eat at? Where do you want to go? And you always have somebody who's like, I don't really care about it. Whatever's fine. And then those are the people who like a week before are like, no, I have feelings. I would prefer to go and do something like this. And it's like, you don't get a say at this point. I like the idea of the contract. I think that would be an awful thing to actually do to your friends, but I also see the benefit.
Yeah, it's just the side channels or the like, that there's like a second group text because like one person will come forward and like present these ideas to you. It's like, hey, me and the guys were talking. It's like, why can't you guys just put it in the original group thread so we can talk about it there? Like, that's the part that drives me nuts. And
they get a little pouty or they're like, oh, we'll just do a side trip or like, we're going to go by ourselves or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, and the guys this time, they wanted like top tier golf courses, Well, top tier golf courses in the prime season in Arizona are freaking expensive. And so I gave them top tier golf course options. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, the guys were talking and it's too much money. And it's like, well, you guys said you wanted the best stuff. Like, tell me you don't want that. And then I'll get something else. Like, that's the stuff that gets me heated. Cause I'm just like, man, this is a waste of my time. Like, just tell me what you want.
Friend going, the one who can't use his money? The one who can't get axed. Oh.
Yeah, he is. And he's going, but he actually has complained the least so far, which before he was the one that would complain the most because we were playing too much golf, which is, that's another balance. It's like, oh, well, it's too much golf. I want to party this night. We're going to drink way too much this night, so we can't play golf in the morning. So it's just, I don't know if I'm going to be playing it next year.
Ariel, I don't know if you have more points, but I want to ask one more question about this, which is
I don't have any more points.
How do you thread the needle of having friends that are at different points in their life, especially like financially? I've got some friends who are able to do whatever, got some friends who need to be more careful, and some people who can't really afford to do some things. So you want to my feeling is always, I want the people who can afford it and who are able, and I don't want to hear anything from them. Like, we can agree on a budget or something, but I have a problem with people who are able to spend money, but who are just miserly about it. And it makes it miserable for everybody. But then I also want to I want to do a little bit of coverage for if there's people who can't afford, I'm willing to cover some. There's a balancing act, especially as you sort of get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not in college anymore.
I think that the people that can spend the most money should sacrifice the experience to, for the golf courses, for instance, we could play somewhere that's like $85 for a green fee, or we could play somewhere that's $500. And if the wealthiest people want to play at the nice place, I think that they should give that up to play at the less nice place so that the people that don't have the money don't feel that financial strain. I just feel like that's a nice thing to do. It's like you can go back and play whenever you want. Go on your own trip,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in that scenario,
that's hard for people.
I may even because I don't know what the difference between 85 and 500 exactly is, but maybe you pay the $200 course and, you just happen to cover someone else's part. And I like the idea of it not being so I think in both of the scenarios, both the extremes, it's the nickel and diming. It's the, we can't do anything if everyone can't afford it, but also we can only do the stuff that is the best, but other people can't afford it. It's both just thinking about the money part of it too much. I want to be in the middle, have a good time. Everyone pitch in their fair share joyfully. But if some people end up covering a little bit more, I'm always happy to see that happen. I don't like the, getting out the dollars and cents of everything.
I think that there should be a little bit of just kind of baked in generosity, hopefully, where some people pick up things and, whatever. But I do think it should kind of err on the side of let's make this to where people don't have to feel bad. Because I don't know. I mean, I've been broke before and I've gone on a trip and it sucks when you can't really afford it, but you're there and you have to spend money, even though you can't really spend money. And that's a bad feeling on a vacation or a trip. So I don't want that for anybody. I'd rather just not go to as nice as stuff, Yeah.
We would do these moms weekends away with this group that I met through. I mean, some of them are people I've known since high school, and the other ones are a formal kind of moms group. And we would do these weekends away, and we started doing them when I didn't have extra money to do anything like this. Especially if I had extra money to spend on a weekend away, I would prefer to do it with my family and not these women that I don't know super well. And they were all very much in different phases of their life financially than I was. And I had to just get to the point where I would have to say, because there was a couple times that I did it where it was I didn't really have enough to spend, but I wanted to be included. And so then that's not a fun weekend because you're well, I'm only going to order an appetizer for dinner or something like that. And then eventually I just had to say no, I can't do this. And people would get a little upset sometimes because they thought you didn't want to hang out with them. But then it was no, I can't actually afford to do this. And so I think there's something there, you just have to be honest when you're having conversations with people about your limitations in terms of planning stuff. And know that if somebody is really your friend, you saying I can't afford to do this is not going to offend them. And if somebody says I can't do it, don't take offense to it. Don't take it as if they don't want to hang out with you. You don't know what's going on in their life. You have to be open to the fact that they just might not be able to afford to do it right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think for us, like we have different pools of friends that some of them could go do a bigger, longer, more expensive trip, and some of them we still want to hang out, but we'll do something more manageable, a little bit lower scale. And I think that works. I mean, I'll tell you personally, just my goal is to be able to be wealthy enough that like all of my friends can come to a thing and I'll just pay for it all. Like that's I just am all about having
people don't like that either,
enjoyable. What's that?
People don't like that either, though, because I
think they'd like it if you take a mask in Colorado and everything.
It creates It creates a very awkward situation.
Well,
I'll let you pay for my trip to Colorado.
Yeah, Ariel will come. Bobby will find it. Yeah. Bobby, you can pay for your way if you come.
I'm just, as somebody that has paid for people's trips or offered to do it before, it is very awkward sometimes. It's a different, like when I've tried to do that for even family or whatever, and I've thought like, this feels like a generous thing that I'm doing and I feel good about this and I'm excited to do this for them. And then the response you get is often not the same thing that you would expect to come back. Like it's usually like,
do you think you're saying like you'll pay for everything, or like, because I'm even thinking as I say it, like maybe. Yeah,
let's be clear on the stipulations for this trip that you're going to bring me on. Okay.
It can't be everything. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Maybe you're just like the house is paid for.
Want to pay for something. They feel bad. Like they feel like they're taking advantage of you. At least from my experience so far is like, they feel like they're not, they want to be able to pay for something. And it's like almost offensive that you don't let them pay. Cause it's people take that a certain way.
Yeah. But I think I agree with that actually. But the barrier is always the most expensive thing, the homes or the flights, whatever. And maybe you say like the house is just paid for, it's a nice house.
That's what I've started doing. Like I'm paying for the house because I used to get a lot of pushback on this like family vacation stuff. Like I would want to pay for everything. And it's like, no, I'll pay for the house. You guys can chip in on whatever you want to. And that seems to be like the best balance so far.
Yeah. I think that fits my brain.
I like it too.
Well, there you go.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for watching Questionable Decisions. I have hidden Michael's face.
I knew that's what you were going to do.
I can't see what he is doing on the other side of this camera. If you have anything that you'd like us to discuss, whether or not it's questionable, whether or not you should make better choices with your life, we would be happy to do so. You can text us. There is a number in the show notes, and you can also email it to us, or you can just join our email list or just email us anything that you want to send. Hello@Millennial Money Man is the email address. And we look forward to talking again. Thanks.
Hello@millennialmoneyman.net or .org or .what?
Damn.
.biz?
Hello@millennialmoneyman.com. It'll be in the show notes.